What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to the brother Gizmo for the donation to the channel via the Cash App. Much respect to him for showing love to Too Raw for TV. All right, so unfortunately, the body of 20-year-old Jade McKissick was one of four found in Houston waterways this week, Houston police have confirmed. McKissick had been a missing person for nearly a week before police recovered her deceased body from the Brays Bayou this past Monday. Her body was officially ID'd. I think it might have been yesterday. The same day McKissick's body was found, a body found deceased was recovered from a canal at the 13400 East Freeway near Greens Bayou. The report came in at 11:50 a.m. and the cause of death was officially ruled as natural by Harris County medical examiner officials, according to HPD spokesman Shay Owashi. Give me a chance here. Shay Owasian. That's it. Owasian said, quote, "There was a body located in a body of water at the location, and that's all we have." On Tuesday, police recovered a body from White Oak Bayou at the 2300 block of Taylor Street after a witness reported seeing the body in the waterway at approximately 1:25 p.m. Police are waiting for an official cause of death from the medical examiner. Another drowning was reported on Thursday, September 18th, at 2 p.m. by a witness who told police they saw a person go into Buffalo Bayou near Jensen and Navigation Boulevards. Quote, according to Owosian, a witness said they saw a male throw himself in the water and never resurface. Police are waiting for the medical examiner's office to determine the cause of death. Owosian said that he could not say whether it is unusual for this many bodies to be found in waterways during a concentrated period, saying, quote, "I cannot say either way. We can't say that we found a body and the medical examiner's office is going to tell us if it was a natural death or what it was. The police department would issue a news release if the case were investigated as a homicide." Look, I've been seeing this story for a couple of days, right? And shout out to Willie D. I saw Willie D talking about this, but I was uncomfortable talking about this because I don't know enough about the history of that area to speculate whether or not there is a serial killer in that area, which is what I think some of the people have been fearing. And also, I don't see a lot of the mainstream media talking about that. It seems to be something that it's created a life on its own on social media. Okay. I'm just going to say this. I think if you're a person in this country, if you're an average citizen, you have a lot of right to be very suspicious of the media. You know, when I was a kid, right, and a younger man, I should say. I'm still young. 45 is not old. But when I was a younger man or a kid, right, I remember the media, although they were preoccupied with ratings, you still felt like the media, especially local media, felt like they had an obligation to be proactive as far as informing the local community of potential dangers. Um, you know, that was a big thing in the 80s and 90s, like the rise of these loners, these solo killers who would go around and terrorize a specific area. And unless it was a situation where the media was involved and the community got involved and they became proactive as far as looking out for particular individuals or the person who they think may have been involved as far as demographic is concerned or whatever, right? They wouldn't tell the public everything, but they would inform the public that there is a threat and we have to look out for this. And the law enforcement would get involved, right? But now it seems like the media covers some stuff up, bro. It does seem like the media doesn't, it's not as, I don't know, it just seems like the media doesn't get as involved in these things as they once were. And I think that relationship between police and the media has strained because sometimes the media does report things. They don't keep certain things off the record. So sometimes police feel like the media can sabotage their investigations. So that could be a problem. You could also argue that they don't want the public to over panic right now. So I don't know exactly what's going on in Houston, man. All I do know is that there's some people that say that this area, Brays Bayou, it has a history of people unaliving themselves, right? And it's not all that unusual to find bodies in Brays Bayou. That's something that I've seen consistently over the last couple of days, right? But I've also seen people say that if you look at the history of Houston going back decades, that Brays Bayou has also been a dumping ground for bodies. Not necessarily as far as, serial killers, but you do have people who have committed homicides, who have dumped bodies in that area. So, when I look at it, five bodies in the last week, and I think 13 bodies in the past, what has it been, 3 weeks or a month? That does sound excessive to me. One thing that the authorities are saying, or some of the experts are saying, why they don't think it's a serial killer, is because they say, generally speaking, serial killers usually target a particular group, right? They say they usually target a particular group, a particular ethnicity, or a particular gender, and they say they're not seeing that in this case, right? To that I say, from a historical perspective, I'm not an expert, but from a historical perspective, they have a great point. But number one, we have a new generation of people out here. You could make an argument that with the advent of social media, maybe certain patterns that historically have been correct at one point have evolved and changed. Secondly, I would bring up the fact that if you look at what happened with the Beltway sniper or snipers, what was it? John Malvo, the younger kid at the time, who was 17, and Dwight, what was his name? Dwight Muhammad or John Muhammad? Excuse me, John Muhammad. They were targeting everybody. Now, it wasn't the exact same method of up close unaliving, but they were doing that. And I think you could make the argument they were serial killers, right? They were targeting everybody. There was no particular race, no particular gender, no particular age group, no particular um, occupation, class, everybody. That's why everybody was in such a panic up and down the East Coast, including where I live. So you can't take those historical norms or trends and say that there's definitely not anything going on. So I'll put it like this, if we continue to see more and more of this, then yeah, you got to look into this thing, man. So I'll just say, don't, if you're in Houston, if you're parents, especially of kids at the University of Houston, don't over panic, but tell your kids to be very careful, be aware of their surroundings, and look at your local news stations and see what develops. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.